Hey guys, this is the long update. It's actually the 26th of June. Now you'll see the update on the Friday, so it may get a bit confusing because on the short update I said today when I meant tomorrow. And that's just because I tend to record these videos a day before, especially these long ones, because on my internet at home they take about an hour to upload. So yeah, apologies if it gets confusing from that. Let's get into the update. It's mostly a positive update, other than the fact that 55% QA failure on the alphas. So actually I'm not supposed to be recording this update now. The team have said wait a few hours because the factory is going to send us through the quantity of the rings that we're going to be getting that are out of stock. So, you know, like the 9.5s and stuff, they're supposed to be sending us through the quantity of those. But I'm not going to wait, just basically because when the factory says something's going to be 2 or 3 hours, it means it's going to be like a day. And there's no point us sitting on the fence, or there's no point me sitting around. It's not like I won't be doing anything, but there's no point me just kind of waiting for something I'm pretty sure ain't going to turn up. So yeah, I guess the first thing is if you're a backer and you are still waiting for your ring. And if this is the first time you've watched one of these long videos, it can be quite slow, by the way. So probably get comfortable and have a cup of tea, and maybe put this on in the background. Start doing something else. So you're still waiting, right? So there's a bunch of people. There's the collection people, there's the alpha people, and then there's the custom rings. So we'll start with the alphas. They arrived a day early. We were due 1900 and we actually got 1016. Quite a few failed on QA read, which is worrying because these are new inlays. So they've obviously been destroyed during manufacturing, which is great. And obviously then we had the visual fails. Now you'd have thought by now they'd be able to figure out how to make these rings, but turns out they don't. And this is actually rings that have come here and gone back to be repolished, and then come back still QA fail. With additional damage, which is bizarre. Anyway, we got them on the Thursday. QA tested them on the Friday, packed them over the weekend, and then so packed them into separate, like boxes ready to go out, and then shipped them off on the Wednesday, which is basically because we have to basically print all of the labels and do them all. So we got them all out, what we could get out on the Wednesday. And bearing in mind, so that was yesterday for me. It's Thursday today recording this video, but it'll probably be Friday for you watching this video. And obviously during that time, on the Saturday, Sunday, we reported the number of QA failures to China, and we said get producing next batch, and they said, well, we're running out of the inlays. And we were like, really? We sent you like 8,000 inlays? It's enough to make at least 4,000 rings. We only needed to fulfill like 2,000 alphas, so we sent them like 200% of what they needed, but they've obviously destroyed a load in the process. Now we'd already prepared for this because we planned to do the alpha pre-order production run, which is where we've been for the normal size rings for months. So we'd already got the artwork spec'd up for the inlay, done all the design, done all the testing, and the factory actually had the new inlay that they needed to approve. So they've approved that now, but the new inlay comes with an EMI layer on top of it. This is to stop EMI damaging the ring in transit, which we've not even had a single case of, but the inlay factory is adamant that we put this layer on them. They think that it may help solve some of the issues where we've seen some inlays fail, which is fair enough. They've been proactive, and we encourage that. But this does make production different, and anything that changes the production process knocks China back usually a few days, if not a week. So we're at the process now of just getting this final order placed for the inlays, and they were due actually on the 28th of this month. The testing should have been done about 4 or 5 days ago, but it's taken China about a week to do the testing instead of a day. And that means that the knock-on effect is that we won't see the next big shipment of alphas with the new inlays. And so the new inlays have got like the artwork and the NFC ring logo and stuff on until about the 10th of July. assuming all of the production run goes fine and we don't get held up in customs again, because last time we got held up in customs it was like 2 weeks. So the I guess best case is we'd have them by the 10th of July. And hold on, we just said with us. I need to add a word. There we go. So that's the alpha status. Anyway, it sucks. But it's also kind of good that we're getting a load of them out. But obviously shortage on what we were hoping for. This doesn't include, by the way, the numbers that we're talking about now. Don't include the numbers that we already got out. Interestingly enough, we've not seen much feedback from the people that have received alphas already, and I'm 99% sure I've shipped a load. But if you're an alpha owner and you've got one in your hand, then it'd be quite good to get some feedback. They're quite big rings, and they're like so there's a lot of Kickstarter-y crowdfunded ring projects going on at the moment. They're big rings, and it takes a while to get comfortable with big rings. And there's not really been any test, like examples of people wearing these big rings. Especially men tend to wear rings that are about the size that we went with for the NFC ring, right? So they're kind of like 7mm. The alphas are like 13mm. They're chunky rings. So let us know how you feel, if it's comfortable or not. Now the next thing is the collections. Now collections are burdened by the alpha problem, naturally, because we put an alpha in every collection. We should be able to get about 30% of the collections out with the stock that we've currently got. So that's like sat in the office now. All we need to do is pick and pack, which actually will be happening as I'm speaking. Stuart and Tom are in the office picking and packing today. And then the rest of the collections, we're just waiting for the out of stock ring sizes and the rest of the alphas. So again, 10th of July, so it's basically like 2 weeks for the last load of collections. Obviously these delays suck, and the only kind of silver lining for collection backers is they're getting like 4 rings for 50 quid, I think it works out at. So they're basically getting 120 quid being the British pound, by the way, 120 British pounds worth of rings for 50 British pounds sterling, which is a ridiculously good price. I'm sure our backers would have wanted them a long time ago, and the reason they're getting 4 instead of 3 is because of the stealth bomber problem. So they get voucher, or however we do the stealth bomber replacement thing. So the thing worth mentioning with collections is they do take us quite a bit longer to pick and pack, because we have to pick 4 for each one. So thanks for being patient on those, and just bear with us, because it takes basically not 4 times longer. It basically takes like 2 or 3 times longer to pick a collection. Actually, it probably takes about 4 times longer, because we have to do chain and stuff as well. So that's where we're at with collections. And then I guess the next one is the custom rings. Now, finally we'll be getting the custom rings back. After the last time we had them was about a month ago, and then they got sent back because they forgot to engrave them. They made them, and I have to admit, some of the artwork looks amazing. There's one in particular which just looks like such an awesome ring, and I'm really excited to show you guys it, but it's going to be up to the person that's getting that custom ring to show you it. It was actually designed by Chris, our internal brand guy. Most of the other rings have been designed by backers. Whether or not we'll do custom rings after this point, because the headache that we've had doing them has just been unbelievable. At this moment in time, we're not even trying to walk that road with China, because we've got so many other bridges that we should have crossed months ago that we've still got a problem with. So yeah, we're kind of knuckling down on the production that we're doing, the types of rings and stuff, and that means that probably custom rings are going to take another 2 or 3 months for us to get set up. Probably 2 or 3 months is probably unrealistic. You're probably looking like 6 months. I guess before I go on to the other cool stuff, I should kind of give you an update on factories as well, because obviously we've got these new factories coming on board all around the world, actually. One of them is pretty much good to go. We're just waiting on final samples. They're now building to really tight spec sheets, so there's no kind of, there's very little room for error. They're actually really difficult to make, our spec sheets. We have to have 1 for each ring size, and we've got 24 ring sizes, and then we've got 2 types of rings, so we have to have 48 3D models and spec sheets. It's a lot of work. and my Australian friend Mark's been helping me out quite a lot. I owe that guy quite a lot of beer. It's kind of good that your mates help you out on these projects, but really I feel like I've not taken him for granted, but you know, he's really walked a long road with us, and I really appreciate it, and not at any point has he turned around and sent us an invoice or even accepted any of my offers to buy him, you know, beer or whatever. So yeah, that's our refractories. We should hopefully be seeing the first production run. I don't know, I really want to get it placed by the end of next week. It takes about a month, so I guess we'll be seeing like the next factory come on board and have items with us by, guess like end of July, but probably early August. So these things take a long time. You know, it's really frustrating, but there's very little we can do, and it's just because like the processes that go into the production of the ring are so complex. I guess it's something that you kind of take for granted. You expect the timescales that are set in front of you originally by the factories of, say, like, oh yeah, it's going to take a week. It actually takes 4 weeks, and then you have 4 factories, and then each one adds an extra 3 weeks to your schedule, or whatever along those lines. You know, it can be really painful, the delays. Okay, so hopefully I've explained. If you're waiting for a ring, where it's at, where we're at with factories, where we're at with production. So the next thing would be Arduino module. I don't think I've actually got one with me. I usually do. So Elec House, which is a company in Hong Kong, they get boards manufactured in Shenzhen that are PN532 Arduino NFC modules. They've got I2C and they've got I2C and they've got SPI, and they have UART, I think, as well. I'm pretty sure they do. They might even have something else, I can't remember. But they're great little modules. The antenna matching, which is what we describe as, if you've got like the Note 3, you'll notice that the antenna matching to a small antenna like this is really bad. But if you've got like a Windows Phone device, or if you've got a Huawei device or a Sony device, you'll know the antenna matching to small tags is great. The PN532 has phenomenal antenna matching to the ring, really, really good, and also quite low power, really impressive. And you can pick them up from Elec House with, I think, $5 shipping or something for only $22.90. And then obviously you can pick up a Nano for, I don't know, you can get the rip-off ones if you're that way inclined. I think they're like $10 or something. And you're pretty much good to go. You just literally plugging it in. Also works with the Pro Mini. And we've been using it with a lot of projects, to the point where we've been having discussions with Elec House about trying to put together some sort of awesome hacker package, which is like the NFC ring hacker package. So we're in progress with that. And yeah, it's just a really impressive module. So elechouse.com for, and then search for PN532, that's Papa Nauseating 532. And any police people that are watching are going to be like, no, it's not nauseating, John. And then to go with that, so if you are looking for an Arduino module, we do a lot of work with Umlaut. They helped us out make all of our test equipment, and they also help us out a lot with shipping. They're basically like our, not our sister company in a way, but we use them, or we don't use them a lot, we work with them a lot. They worked with this for the Nerf NFC gun. Really, really been a great friend of the project. So if you would support them, I guess mostly if you're in the UK and you're thinking about just tinkering with Arduino, they do some great Arduino starter kits, and I'm not under commission to say this. I just know that the guys at Umlaut are great guys. They really support him, and definitely a good company to work with. If you're in the Yorkshire area, I definitely recommend you go and visit them, because the toys that they've got, I'm going to call them toys. The toys that they've got in their warehouse / factory are phenomenal, and the support that you'll get if you wanted to work on a project is phenomenal as well. So definitely a strong recommendation there. And the next thing on the update is digital door locks. Now, you'll notice that Samsung have released quite a lot of digital door locks that don't truly support NFC. They're based on some sort of bizarre standard that they seem to be implementing, and that's fine. So what we've been doing is we've been going through and documenting the digital door locks that work with the NFC ring. And I say I've done some, and then the community's done some. And the ones that we like the most are the SHS 1321 and the SHS 3320. So that's the SHS 1321 and the SHS 3320. And we've provided a link to a UK site actually, so you can grab from there. But about 70 quid from SK, $122, so 172 Great British pounds sterling. And so they're nowhere. You know, people are like, oh, they're hundreds of pounds. No, they're not. You know, pick one up for 70 quid. You just got to look, got to search around, find the one that works for you. I used the SHS 1321, I think, on my door outside, and then I've got a different one downstairs, which I can't remember. If you jump on the forum, you'll see, so forum.nfcring.com, you'll see there's loads of conversations about digital door locks. It's going to be really interesting when we've made our own. We probably won't release it as an NFC ring, but we'll support our community in the research and development. And then we may reach out to one of our companies that's under our capital umbrella to package it all up into a product. We'll be making it obviously all open source and just basically make it a community project. Kind of think of the open SSL of digital door locks, right? So it'll be the core components, so all the schematics, PCB and everything will all be an open source layout. Hopefully we'll have the Heartbleed vulnerability. But think about it like that, and then other people can build products off the back of it. So it'll be, you know, you may want to add some additional crazy functionality that'll be possible for you to do, and then you can package that up as a product. That's where we're at with digital door locks. The next thing was app updates, and I should have a phone somewhere nearby. I usually do. There we go. Right. So the big updates are the NFC ring unlock process is much clearer now. So if I go to let's see if I can make this work as I want to. Okay, this not NFC ring because I did. There we go. So you know this whole registration process before was kind of confusing. I forget how bad this camera picks up the brightness. So this part where it's like register your ring, email address, password again. We made that a lot clearer. So when you've registered, it says you can now use that username, password to get into NFC ring unlock. Hopefully we'll have less support requests because we're getting a lot of people getting confused by that process, and that was our fault. But if you do get so if you get this error, actually that's lucky. If you get that error, alert not NFC ring. If you get that, then contact support at nfcring.com and we'll have to make you an account. Now this error was caused by we have many levels of QA testing. Well, actually we have 3, and at each point it's supposed to register the tag. Some tags have managed to slip through without being properly tested. We know where that happened and why it happened, and we've now dealt with it. And so unless you get in a visual fail or a QA fail ring, you shouldn't have to deal with that. Now if you do get a visual fail or QA fail ring, we're not licensing the app with those rings anyway. They come without an app. They're purely to tinker with, and we don't provide any additional functionality. We don't actually have a mechanism for purchasing the app yet, which is probably something that we need to deal with. We may do that on a case-by-case basis. We'll figure that out when we need to cross that bridge. But yeah, if you do get the not NFC ring error, then email support at nfcring.com and we'll sort it out. Stealth Bomber updates. The new blank is going to be done by the end of the month. The new fibre material is, I need to ring the guy actually about that before they close today. It's a 1 week lead time. We've got the material, we need to treat it, but we're about 2 weeks away from probably seeing it because we have to cut it down into, like, it comes in 2 meters by 1 meter pregnated sheets, which means that it's a solid 2 meter by 1 meter sheet. As you can imagine, I don't know if you're familiar with woodwork, but it's like shipping a piece of 8x4 to China. It makes no sense at all. So what we need to do then is trim it down into sheets. We actually only need like an A4 sample sheet just to do a test. We then do a test, and then we've got to do trimming to within 50 microns of an inlay, which requires a jig setup. And the guy that's doing the jig setup's away until Monday. So basically, like, there's just a load of stuff in the air about that. We think we've figured all the components out. We still don't know whether we're going to call it a stealth bomber yet. The cost of producing it, as I've said before, is phenomenal compared to the cost of the NFC rings that we've made to date. And we'll just kind of keep having conversations with the community about that and see how you guys feel about it. And if it's costing us twice as much if it costs us more to make the ring than it does to sell it, for example, that would be incredibly bad business for us and probably put us out of business. So if you guys want us to be out of business, then that's fine. That's how you're vocal about that, and we'll just go out of business. That's we can foot the bill so much, but there has to be a point where I step in and say, look, this is just not realistic to do, and we just try and find a compromise. It'd be great if we can bring the cost of manufacturing down, but the fact is the actual components that are going into the ring cost twice as much easily, and then assembly or shipping fees to get things around the world is going to have an additional knock-on cost as well. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll know a lot more probably in a week or two, probably 2 weeks, when we'll do the next bi-weekly update. I'm not kind of keeping anything under the radar about it. It's just there's a person on holiday, or we're waiting on we're waiting on 2 factories, and there's a person on holiday, and there's basically only 3 elements, or actually there's 4 elements, and I chased the 4th part today as well, but I will remember to chase the preg guy. The next thing is minor forum updates. Now, we've put minor, but it's kind of a big deal to people. So basically, before, when you went to the forum, the sign-in process and the login process was horrible. And it's taken us like a month to sort that out. And we've had the single sign-on solution up for about a month now, and getting that front-end stuff done on NodeBB has been a bit of a pain. Julian from NodeBB has been great at helping Chris getting things done. And basically what this means is that you have a single sign-on, so you have what we're going to do is, instead of having like this separate username password validation thing for the app, you'll just be able to use your single sign-on, which is also your forum user account, and we're using OAuth 2 for that. So the thing with OAuth 2 is that implementations can just be a little tricky, and so we had to write quite a lot of code and make quite a lot of edits, create our own NodeBB theme and all of these different things. And the idea is that long term we simplify everything so that there's not like, what we don't want is an origin style situation where you get locked out for whatever reason, or you have to remember multiple logins, or it just feels clunky. When we use OAuth 2, you'll be able to do like permission handling. So like what Facebook does, you can have specific permissions that are granted to specific services. So it's very much a future-proofing thing that we've done, and that's why it took a little while longer. But if you've tried to use a forum and you've struggled before, then now is the time to jump on, register, log in, and if there is any issues, then give us, let us know and we'll sort it. We'll take that feedback and we'll sort it out. Should be pretty stable though. We've had no complaints in the last 24 hours, and there's been quite a lot of logins. On the topic of the forum, by the way, loads and loads of really cool stuff going on actually. So I know I kind of bat on about this a bit, like jump over to the forums, get involved with the community, but yeah, a guy called Tom did a bunch of stuff about using different apps, using other apps, and we're not tying people into our apps at all. Let me see if I can find this thread. Yeah, so I mean, there's like, the communities are it's just so cool what people are posting. So there's Tom and Asbath and Mauricio and Mike all had an amazing conversation about using the NFC ring as part of the standard unlock system. So this basically meant that you had to root your phone and do a bunch of other stuff. So, but what we're not doing is we're not saying, right, NFC ring unlock is the only app you can use. We've always been completely like clear about hack on whatever you want to hack on, not a problem at all. And the fact that our community is the place where that's happening, we really want to support that. We never want to like exclude a different way of solving the same problem. These guys are willing to root their phone. A lot of our backers weren't willing to root their phone. It was what a lot of previous projects have been criticised for, so it's something that we didn't want to put as part of our project. However, if you do want to root your phone and you are willing to install a bunch of APKs and all of that sort of good stuff, then we've got it all documented on the forum. So it kind of, the forum's kind of going beyond where we're able to take the project, which is exactly what we wanted to start, which is exactly what we wanted to do. And then there's loads of documentation on which ring will work with my phone. So a lot of the support requests are still, how do I get it to work with like my Nexus 5? And we're like, have you been on the forum? No. Would you go on the forum and read through some of the threads just to help you get started? No, I need support from you guys directly. It's like, there's 10,000 of you. You really think that we can have that? I mean, we'd like to have that conversation, but you've paid £30 for a ring, and in some cases £22. The cost for us to have that conversation in man hours is, say, let's say £5. Well, we don't have that level of profit off the rings. Like, it's unrealistic to have a conversation with every backer. We're already way past our budget on overspend on support due to the delays and having to respond to so many emails that are just, where is my ring? Which people are fully entitled to send, but the knock-on effect from that is that we have less time for other, packing, picking, and all those things. So it's difficult for us, and we need you guys to understand that the community as a whole needs to be supporting each other, and that's exactly what's happening. So I guess if you're not kind of familiar with the forum and you are involved in this project in any way, shape or form, then please jump on there, read what other people are doing. There's so much cool stuff going on in different places. And people like Lockie, for example. I mean, you're not going to find better people in your community than somebody like Lockie, who's just people are going on there and they're having real gripes about why there's a delay, and I'm not being, John's not telling us why there's delays, and Lockie's like, well, actually, if you look at the last video he posted, he also did a text update. It's all kind of clear in there, and he's been clear on the comments and updated that. And we kind of need those people to just kind of help other people see that we are being totally transparent and we're trying to give as much information as possible. So, yeah, TLDR on that is jump on the forum. And literally got to the point now where I've got so many tabs up. There we go. Right, and then the last thing is new team members. So we have to grow our team. So we have the sales revenue coming in now from pre-orders, and that's coming in. And giving us the finances to be able to prop up a bigger team to be able to do. So it's Alex and Stuart. So Stuart's joined mostly to help with customer services, sales at a kind of corporate level. So it's more like dealing with transportation providers, kind of big companies like Twitter or whatever, to make sure that they get banks and stuff like that, to make sure that they get the prototype so that they can experiment and see how they can implement the ring inside of their product or their use case. For example, we have some major banks. I'm not going to go into detail so much, but there is one bank that's prototyped using the ring as one of their authentication mechanisms for their gold bullion room where they store the gold. I think they have like 4 or 5 authentication mechanisms. But that one, instead of using a smart card, they're using an NFC ring. And these guys are spending a fortune on security, But this is one of examples where we have to have somebody that then liaises with that bank, and that costs time and money. So Stuart is mostly dealing with that. And Alex is a community member. And Alex is dealing mostly with community relations. So he was at Devox. If you were sat with me at Devox, Alex was on the other side of the table, and his deal, he's kind of mostly dealing with community relations. So this is making sure that we give out the free rings to developers, but also helping out with customer service and support. And then we've got the back office staff that are dealing with returns, replacements, picking and packing, and then we have like our designers and all of these different things. So we actually have a growing team. We just need to be so we're at a point now in the business where you kind of like you grow your team and you have like a nice basis and you've got all of these rings going out and everything's going well, and but we really need to solve we've got some problems that we've still not solved, right? So there's the stealth bomber problem, there's the stability in production problem, which is basically making sure we get these other factories on board. There's a scalability problem. So if we get, say, 50 ring orders a day, well, that's great because per month that is what, 1,500. But the minimum order quantity for ICs is like 500,000. And so until we're at that point where we can do like 100,000 rings a month, it's really difficult for us to get that new tech that we want to get put in. So there's all these different issues of trying to scale up and make sure that the process is all there, and we really want to get to a point where the rings are on like Amazon, and not like what say other competitors that have done that. They've just put them on Amazon through some distributor. What we want to do is put them in Amazon's warehouse, and we've had those offers. We're walking that road, but we need to have a stable supply chain. We need to make sure that the software works perfectly. We need to make sure that when a person buys their ring, they don't give it a 1 star because they can't get it to work on their Note 3. I mean, because like on Amazon and all these kind of retail type experiences, you've really got to make sure that you guide the user through, or the ring bearer through that whole process until the point where they're giving you a 5-star because they're having a really positive experience. They're not the hacker community. So we've really got to build the business until that point, and they're the major challenges that we've got. I know this has been a bit of a long update, and I hope that you've got something from it. It'll be up after the first update because it's so long, probably. If you've got any questions, or if you feel like I've not answered anything clearly, then just all you need to do is just I think usually just like, what do we recommend? I guess on the forum tends to be a good place, but also like there's different places you can get hold of us. So there's like the forum, there's Reddit, there's YouTube, there's the blog, there's Kickstarter comments, which we struggle to reply to, but we do. IRC, which is the NFC ring on Freenode, and then email support@nfcring, so support@nfcring.com. So there you have it. That's the latest big update, and it won't be the last, I'm sure. And I guess next one will be in about 2 weeks, but there may be a minor one that covers more of the updates on Stealth Bomber, but we'll see how it goes, because I've been told a week, but let's face it, production.